Welcome to the podcast is always along for the ride, offering insight like the sunstone in your pocket. It's the Rogue Sun Podcast. I'm Ray and Matt, and I'm joined by the crew bringing you the news, interviews, and their views. Here's the Well of Wisdom. How's it going, Bash?
Good. Yeah, happy to be here. Great issue. Always a good day when it's New Comic Book Day, and we've got an awesome Masterverse book, Rogue Sun, one of my favorites. So I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. It's Rogue Sun, and like Masterverse days are always special. Last, certainly not least, it's the young buck fresh from the Fountain of Youth. Charlie, how's it going?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah, like you guys said, always excited to talk Rogue Sun, and yeah, especially got this new podcast on the way. So yeah, been loving doing that. And yeah, we've got a lot of new characters to talk about. A new arc coming up. So yeah, can't wait to talk.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty good issue. We've got some. We've had two covers this time. It seems like the cover Bs are going for focus on the villains, right? So, cover A, I really loved it by Luana Vecchio. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Which was the cover A's have been really strong. I
Yeah,
find lately. What do you guys think?
yeah, a unique one for sure. Like we haven't really gotten like a lot of like the all black, like this, but yeah, just kind of a really cool change on the Rogue Sun cover design. So yeah, been loving that, and yeah, the cover B too is pretty sweet.
Yeah, and we had Federico Sabatini and Mafuria giving us cover B, which focuses on Suave, which I think the next one's Billy Bloodmoon, so I think they're doing it in order of villain appearance because like Suave wasn't really in this issue, but it is nice to have the individual covers.
Yeah, we're getting the connecting covers next, like 4 or 3 issues. So like nice villains cover set, which is pretty cool. I mean, we've shifted away from incentives, and we're starting to apply open order covers for everything. So, in a sense, like it puts the. I think this will be an interesting experiment long term because it's going to put the onus in the hands of the readers. So they're going to pick like kind of like how much what the print count is of the future issues, like the A to B ratio, I guess you can say. And yeah, you can't go wrong with a negative space cover. Luana's been doing the last few cover A's, and honestly, I'm pretty. We're pretty blessed that we have someone who's such a good artist, like doing
Hmm.
the covers consistently for each title. So they've released here. We'll do some presenting so we can share that with everybody. They've released the. One second, I just want to make sure I have the right image before I load it up. There we go. Yeah, so they've released the covers for the next issue as well. So because the solicits just came out today, so it's a good timing. And here we go. So that's cover A.
Hmm.
Yeah, by Luana Vecchio, an awesome cover. And then we've got another cover B uh, by you said it, Sabatini,
And yeah,
and
Mafuria.
yeah, it's another great cover. So there's that one to look forward to. I'm personally like I'm really a big fan of Suave, and I really like the
Hmm.
the layout for this cover. Like polishing the sword or just holding the sword and everything. It's a nice little cover.
Yeah,
And then beyond that,
Details. Just the details and texture on that suit are so good. Like, look at that. Like, anyway, yeah.
yeah, it reminds me of like the Moon Knight as well because he does Moon
Hmm.
Knight. And beyond that, we have today we got the solicits for the most recent issue of Rogue Sun, so we'll share that real quick. And
Hmm.
we have Rogue Sun number 16. And so here we go. An army of nightmares begins its march on New Orleans, with Dylan still nowhere to be found and his friends and family scattered. Who will step up to save the city, and more importantly, how? It's interesting because this issue that we just read today, Rogue Sun number 13, it has Abel and Rena on art duties on the
Hmm.
cover, and I think we're keeping that streak going until this issue, or at least on this issue as well. So that's fantastic to see. Got a really cool uh, zombie cover, and Noah, one of the patrons and friends of the podcast community members, mentioned that it could be a fun like Dead Day crossover, which I don't think is like actually real, but that's a fun like, little tease if you're
Hmm.
a fan of Ryan Parrott's works and everything. And yeah, but beyond that, we've got one more variant, which is the Rogue Sun number 16 variant, and we've got Lord Viathan, who is the
hell
Scourge
yeah,
of the Deep. I
hell
really
yeah.
like
Oh,
this cover. Yeah,
We,
Carly AF drew this, or Carly Draws. You
That's
can find them.
incredible. That's
Yeah, really nice cover.
wow.
yeah,
So,
it's
uh,
nice to spotlight, like you mentioned, you can see the print counts, but for other people that maybe the Rogue Sun design didn't draw people in, when you see the Awesome Rogues gallery, hopefully these cover Bs show people more of what the series is all about.
I hope it encourages more people to like now that it's not a ratio. I hope more people are going to go out there and try to get them. It's like easier to get and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you guys want these, they're just cover price. So you get a virgin cover. You could get that over the cover A if you want, or both. Do that. Support. Um, yeah, support Rogue Sun, support the Massiverse. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but and I'll just post this up real quick. But in the sorry for sharing this again. I just forgot to mention this earlier. But in the Rogue Sun number 13 cover, which is the cover for today's issue,
Mm.
if you look, they did this thing for the first time right here. It
Yeah.
says
Yeah.
Massiverse under like image.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that's cool now that they're labeling them that way and they get people at least like curious about what this whole Massiverse is and what everything is. But yeah, here we got Abel and Bren on art duties. And yeah, gorgeous negative space cover. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Yeah, so we have a kind of familiar scene early on when we see in the hospital. Nothing good ever happens in a hospital in Rogue Sun, ever. Not that, usually you see a lot of good things, but in here we get to see what we find out to be the body of Demonica, right?
Yep.
Right? Demonica,
Yep.
yeah. I keep wanting to say Vampironica, which is not even Vampirella. It's not even a character. But yeah,
It's close. It's
uh,
close.
we get, yeah, obviously it looks like Vampironica is back. Not Vampironica, goddamn. Anyways, she's back, and we learn later on that she can draw power from anyone that touches the body can bring her back. So, if people that are doing working with corpses and stuff, definitely, bodysuits are a must.
Yeah,
So yeah, what do you guys think about this
yeah,
opening?
this was definitely surprising for me. I didn't know it was Demonica until I read back through it. Like obviously, once the reveal happens, it was pretty cool. But going back and seeing, reading that, like I didn't clue in the first time actually who it was because these are kind of new powers we haven't really seen before. I should have realized with the pink feet, but I don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention. But yeah, no,
I like that.
it was a cool reveal.
I like how it set the tone. Like we're at a morgue. They're kind of trying to identify the body, do a biopsy, and you get like a little bit or like it reminds me of Carnage. You know what I mean? Like how back in the comics they used to like keep him away from all the people and any sharp edges or anything because if he gets any sort of droplets of blood, he's gonna go wild. So I really like that.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, that's true.
yeah, it's a nice change of pace in terms of like there is always I say a horror light vibe because we never really touch on the horror for reals. Like yeah, there's some scary looking things, but I feel like this one set the tone a lot better. It's like it felt like a true horror opening. It felt like we're watching like a Sam Raimi movie in some ways, you know?
Yeah, or like all we needed was like teens having sex to make it like a Friday the 13th intro. Basically, it's so much like a lot of those. But that is a good point. That is probably the most like, horror kind of like rolling around and making the most of it. When we have horrific stuff, but a lot of it just sticks to more. It's kind of like supernatural. It's like it's scary, but like it's not like, bone chilling. But I feel like we're getting there, and I would love more horror elements in this.
Yeah, I love the alien like scene where Demonica is in like almost like Batman like pose in the top of the ceiling, and
Mm.
she jumps for one of the doctors, and he's just like, "What in the hell?" And he's like, "Hello," she says, "Hello, delicious." I really like that scene.
Now,
Yeah,
okay, that's a good point. For me, I clued in. I believe that it was the dude who got infected turned
Mm.
into that guy. That's how I actually took it because yeah, when we see him, he says, "What the hell?" Like we don't see the other guy. But no, that's interesting. So I'm
Yeah.
not too sure there, but yeah.
I feel like this opening was really overshadowed by the next part, which I know Ryan's a big fan of this part, but the group therapy, I feel like that kind of stole the show, this issue. I loved it. We got a bunch of familiar faces as well as some new reveals. So we have the group therapy, and it opens with every character answering an unknown question. So we see old favorites like Lord Viathan, Billy Bloodmoon, Hellbent, and Cataclysm, as well as Sharon without the mask. And we also get my most anticipated character of the series, straight up, is more so than Morningstar is Alienator. I love the name, I love everything. The design does not change that. Reverend Death, Lady Calamity, and Kill Switch. Right? We haven't seen any of those ones before,
Yeah.
as far as I remember. It's tough.
several
Ash is gonna bring it up here.
several first appearances, and it's pretty cool because it just, first of all, this is an excellent image, excellent layout, really cool way to introduce everyone, and it's really cool because this takes up the entire page before you see the other, you know, you flip the page and you see the other thing, which is the group therapy thing. So it's a really cool contrast. You go from like this really badass introduction, almost video game like, you know, you got like a versus screen almost, and the next page is like, oh, it's group therapy and we're here to like rehabilitate you guys. So yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, Sharon looking very tame without the like power up, or I'm assuming something's missing there, but it just looks funny, like seeing them up close. Really cool villain looking lady Calamity, Reverend Death. It just, this really takes me back to some of like the old Image series. So when we had Ryan on and he was telling us about how he read like all the Image comics, like you could really see it resonate and come through here and its influences. But also, I just love this, so I'm very excited. I gotta say, like, this makes me so happy because we said before that this series is excellent because it has such a good rogues gallery, pun intended, and yeah, I think this just adds so many cooler rogues to the existing gallery. So Alienator looks awesome, almost like a Battle Beast looking figure, and we have Killswitch who looks creepy as fuck to be
Yeah,
honest.
he looks creepy as fuck. He might be he might be my favorite
Who's
besides
your favorite
Alienator.
Bash out of the new bunch?
Yeah,
Alienator looks dope, but Killswitch, it's
Alienator.
between Alienator and Killswitch. I gotta
Yeah,
get to know
yeah,
more
same.
before I give, but
Yeah,
they both, their designs really stick out.
same with me. Same with
Yeah,
But they
me.
all look cool. They all look cool.
yeah,
They
Kill Switch
really
is
do.
dope, and like, yeah, the upside down Reverend Death. I can't read. My eyesight is like the worst. As anyone who can see my glasses can tell. But yeah, Reverend Death. I just any character with like an upside down cross over their face. I'm like, all right, that's what I'm all about. I didn't even like wear. I have my church's shirt on. It's like, and they have it kind of tilted or whatever. But yeah, I love the design. Alienator has those dreads. Like I don't know how it is. I feel like there's got to be an influence between Alien versus Predator Requiem when they had the Alien Predator, the Alien Editor or whatever. Like I feel like that's a part of it.
That's pretty cool. I actually didn't
Yeah,
notice that until you pointed that. Yeah, I
and
really like these designs.
Sharon definitely like he probably gives me the most questions. He's got that creepy like zigzag mouth, but he looks like the most innocent there, and he's like, oh, like he likes the smile of a newborn baby. So I got questions about that guy. So yeah, what's he up to?
Yeah, and it's
Seeing
still wild to
Billy,
think. What was that,
no, go
Bash?
ahead. I was just like
I
seeing Billy in his civilian form is just funny, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah.
He just looks like really funny.
he's a werewolf, but he kind of seems the most out of place because it's like, I don't think Billy knows that much about it. We don't know what the Blood Moon family is like, how much they know about this stuff, but yeah, it's wild. Also, just seeing Dylan's mom just like in this realm, it's messed up, right? She kind of, we don't know too much about his mom's entire history. It just feels like she doesn't belong. Like these guys are way more far gone than someone who's mad at their ex. Like who isn't?
For sure. Yeah, and so in the next page we get to the group therapy session, which I'll pull up here in a second. And yeah, it like everyone has already mentioned, it's excellent. It was really a pleasant surprise. It wasn't something you were we were expecting, and I just love the banter, like the banter between the characters. I think so far in just 2 pages he's established some interesting voices for these characters, and I'm really like, I don't say this lightly, but I'm like so excited. Like I was genuinely so giddy when I saw these characters, and now I'm so excited for like future issues because I know these guys will pop up again.
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah,
I hope he plays around with how they pop up. Like, dude,
yeah.
Killswitch just looks like Freddy Krueger on like, I don't know, mixed with some gore, mixed with some other shit. It just looks creepy as fuck. Like I'm all in, man.
Yeah, I mean, excited is a phrase that does come up a lot on this podcast because they're giving us so much amazing material. Like if I talk about other comics, I'm not always like, oh my God, but with this, it's amazing, and this does lay it out. I feel like this issue does a really good job of showing like the world is big. It feels like when they got to Alexandria and The Walking Dead, spoilers, you know what I mean? It's like we're expanding now. Like we didn't have Jesus here to show us the way, unfortunately. It's just, but we had like look at this, and then later on we see some afterlife stuff. So there's definitely this is way different. This arc does not feel at all like the first two arcs. Not that I wanted a change or whatever, but this is a pretty good one so far.
Yeah, yeah. No, it feels evolved for sure. Like we're getting ready for the next stakes for sure. But then we get right back to like kind of just the down to earth stuff. Back to poor old Reggie here, who bit the dust in his memorial outside, and I was really curious to see like kind of like Caleb's interactions with everyone kind of at school and at home, kind of like how like they would notice him a difference. Obviously, we saw Brock, like really notice it. He's like, yeah, he's acting weird, but he likes it. He's being kind of just like a more nice guy. He's asking to bring Brock for a flight, just because. So that's kind of like. Yeah, people have a lot of questions. I hope we do, but I hope we get to see him like in class or something too, like answering some questions. But that might be a dead giveaway if he's getting everything right. Well, yeah,
My
who
favorite
knows?
part is that Byron missed the prom, or like was going to miss the prom because he got a B in PE. like, like come on, like come on, that's brutal.
Do you think kids go up to Reggie and be like, "I thought you were dead"? Like, no, that was the other character that's very similar to me, but isn't dead. No,
Oh
yeah,
my
I like.
God, no, I certainly hope not. That's
I'm kidding.
brutal.
That'd be so
Jesus
cool.
Christ.
This hit hard, right? Like Caleb doing the body snatching. Like there's nothing worse than seeing someone like steal your body, presumably steal your identity, and
Well,
do it better than
it's a
you.
body snatching on multiple levels because he's snatching Dylan's body and then he's snatching Vanessa as well. So it's like, man, he's like snatching
Mm.
everything. You know what I'm saying? He's like getting the setting the tone. He's mending the relationship as he puts it. But it's just like it's really interesting because I think it must be really hard for Dylan to watch someone walk in his body and do everything better than him. Like literally everything better than him. Like even if they'll disagree or they'll agree to disagree on how to approach certain things, but the fact that he's just literally better at everything, obviously from more experience. But yeah, I just find that interesting. It's just hard to be like a spectator, and we'll see how that
Well, no
comes to
kidding.
terms.
What do you think his intention was with Vanessa? Do you think like mending things with Vanessa was a way to say, "Hey, Dylan, look, I'm actually helping you," and maybe like eases like, "Hey, like I can make things better in your life."
Bro,
Maybe that could be.
he's probably
Yeah,
like, damn, I see why this guy talks about this girl all the time because she's pretty cute, and I think
I'm
now
gonna
that
steal his body and his girl.
yeah,
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 exactly. It's
that's
like now
good.
that the opportunity presents itself, I might as well just plant a little seed here and
He
there.
likes it. Yeah, he likes this timeline for sure.
Yeah,
He's
So yeah.
it
200,
seems
she's
really tempting.
16. Those
Jesus
numbers don't add
Christ.
up.
Nope.
Um, I'm sure the
Yeah.
laws were a lot different back then. That does not justify it. But yeah, I'm just saying
Does
his
not.
his,
No.
his moral compass is like 1800 or whatever. My history is bad, but like his views and his morals don't exactly correlate with ours. Like he knows of basic heroics, but I don't want him to think about what his views on a bunch of stuff, right? So that's
Yeah,
something to be
yeah,
aware
that's
of
a
with
good
Caleb.
point actually. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's a good
not
point.
that I think we're really going to go into that too much,
Yeah,
but
no.
yeah,
Hmm.
I the scene was so real when we went to Byron's mom, and it was really smart on Kayla's part. To, like, we'll bring Vanessa. Like, he planned this out geniusly. Where like, hey, you can't even get mad at him for going, even if he is the bully. Like, even just Byron's mom being like, oh yeah, you're the one that bullied him and like made his life a living hell. Like that was raw. That was real. Like Dylan saw that and couldn't have control over that situation either. So it was just all across the board. We were firing all
Yeah.
cylinders.
It's also like in that moment, if she sees him do something responsible, like show up there and have those mature words, it's probably she also noticed in the moment, having been like an adult, being an adult, she probably noticed that like, damn, my son, he's so heroic. Not only like he sacrificed himself, but his sacrifice literally changed this person to like where he came to my house and he's being mature. And it's like it doesn't seem like something a bully would do. At least that's also how I interpret it. That's like another
Yeah,
layer of how I interpret it because it's just
he gave
like.
the hero a lesson in heroism in his final
Mhm.
moments.
Yep, and even Vanessa like notices that, but she doesn't bring it up until they're alone, of course. But yeah, I do like this other scene. First of all, I just want to say like I really appreciate like the contrast in colors in between different scenes, whether it's between day and night or when he's with Vanessa, it's brighter, and when he's alone with Dylan and shit's serious, it's darker. But I do appreciate like the colors in this issue. And Natalia Marquez is of course an excellent colorist, and she continues to do an excellent job. I like the cleverness of the plot and like that Demonica's like leaving a trail of bodies for them to find because she's trying to get her meal, as she likes to put it. One thing I do want to say is I'm really glad, and I praise Ryan Parrott big time. First of all, Abel. Before I even get into sorry, Abel and Macarena. All the credit to them. Excellent artists. They keep on killing it. That goes without saying. The streak keeps going. But Ryan, what he does in this issue that I really appreciate, something we were concerned about was like, I hope they don't milk like the whole just Dylan being like an observer, right? Like I hope that he actually like pushes. I want to see what he thinks of this, and we get that here in this issue. So he pushes, and we see him ask some difficult questions, and we'll get into that right now.
And he gets control of the hand later on as well, so he's not
Yeah,
entirely powerless. Or it looks
yeah,
that way. That seemed to be what was indicating, although it didn't last long. I have some questions about that fight as well to discuss later.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, we get back to well, Caleb as Dylan as Caleb as Dylan Rogue's son manages to find Demonica with the trail of bodies she's left. Obviously, it's a trap, and there's some dialogue, excellent dialogue, some funny dialogue even. But the point is, she's very well aware that this is not Dylan because she can see Dylan, and that was really cool because Dylan he just found that out for the first time, and I think it's really funny that the first thing he does is just start explaining to her the situation, like just giving her intel, like, oh yeah, you can see me because like I'm this, and we switched, and like I'm actually this, but he's in there, and I'm just like, what is this dumbass kid doing? But it seems like he actually has a plan.
He's doing the only thing he can, right? When you have
Yeah.
limited resources, your back's against the wall. He's in a realm he has no understanding of, right? You start to make some unholy alliances, right?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting for sure, and it was also cool that yeah, Demonica could see Dylan in his spirit form. I thought that was kind of a cool thing for sure.
Like when Superman saw the Flash, remember that one scene?
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, no,
He's just like, oh
exactly,
shit.
exactly.
So
But yeah,
so when she's going after when Caleb is pinned down and she's like draining the life force and stuff like that, Caleb separates himself from his body and just like punches her in the mouth or whatever. Like so as a spirit form, I guess that confirms that he can still do stuff or override stuff. I guess especially if they're interacting with the spirit. I guess I'm not sure how exactly that works out. What are your guys' thoughts?
Breadcrumbs. That's my thoughts. Ryan Parrott is like he's actually a genius writer. That like when you reread, at least with Rogue Sun, as far as I've seen so far, but I've read other things by him. Dead Day, and I can vouch for him. He's good. He's good. Go read his books. But on this issue and the last few issues, he's been laying a lot of breadcrumbs for us. And we actually talked about this in our first episode with him. So check that out if you have it. But we discussed all the breadcrumbs he's been planting in Rogue Sun. He says that he loves to do that. He enjoys leaving things for. Sorry, my chair is creaky as fuck. My God, he enjoys leaving things for people to find later on. And we saw that even in issue one, they left that sword key. That spoiler alert. Skip the next 10 seconds if you don't want to hear it. That showed up in Supermassive 2023 and was important. And we've seen other instances like that, like the Raven Queen, things like that. So I think in this issue, he's laid some breadcrumbs. He's laying some breadcrumbs for us for the future. And one of those is that, like, yeah, Dylan, I don't. Is that what you said? Is like we don't entirely have a complete understanding of what the Sunstone can do, and vice versa, because Dylan here seems to do that, where he's like moving. He moved the guy. It's like almost like puppet controlling or some shit. But there's also something towards the very end of the issue which tied into the immortal Iron Fist nature of it all, of this story, and how Ryan said he was going to tap into stuff like that. We'll get to that. But yeah, that's what I think. I think he's planting things that he's going to go into really heavily later. But I really appreciate that he for like his for the astute readers, for the mega fans, that you could pick on these things already. You can already notice them.
yeah, yeah, because yeah, it does look like yeah, it looks like he literally like jumps out of the body, still has like the flaming fist like as he's jumping out and like punching her. So yeah, he still kind of has access to the power, maybe because no one else has claimed the body yet, kind of thing. But yeah, no, that's so many questions, and yeah, that's why I love this book.
I love the fight between Caleb and Dylan where he's like, why would you go against me and stuff like that? You're going to side with a murderer. And he basically says, he's like, you tried to tell me how to do stuff. You could have told me how to do it instead of taking control. Like he wasn't teaching him. So it's a lot of stuff like, does Caleb really want to help or does he want to be right? And does he want to just be the one in control? Obviously, if you're a backseat driver for hundreds of years, you're going to feel like, you have someone that you could possibly manipulate. Maybe that overrided him. And this holier than thou person is actually way
Yeah,
more corrupt and shadier than he believes he is.
yeah,
Let's give Ryan some like dialogue credit here, because what he says, what Rogue Sun says, what Caleb says to Dylan, he says, "I thought you and I could work together. That you might be willing to learn something for once, but I was wrong." And then Dylan says, "This is so good." He says, "It's safe to say that we are at the point of fuck you, spirit dick. You talk a good game, code and honor, and I'll admit I was into it, but you never intended to guide me, or you would have told me how to save Reggie." And we mentioned that before. Instead of using his death to get your hands on a superpowered sock puppet. Jesus Christ, man. Dylan's just laying on the truth, bro. He's not holding back. He's just full teenage angst and like full right on.
So it was Byron that died. I don't even know who's dead. I can't remember. I
it's
got so
Reggie.
Byron
Reggie.
died. Was that Byron? No, Reggie died. Byron
Reggie.
is the other kid, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Reggie
Reggie.
died. Byron's
Yeah.
the guy who's still
okay. You
alive.
couldn't even save Byron. So you couldn't even save.
Byron's the guy who's dating who's like fake dating the girl.
Okay. I
That
need I
woman
need
as
Lenny
well.
and Carl story, like Lenny Carl written on my hand. Like that's what I need now. No offense, not like these characters are poorly written. It's just
No,
um, Yeah,
I no, I do that all the time too, for sure.
yeah, but no, it's a good point. The dialogue is really strong, especially in this issue. I noticed like the dynamics of these characters in 13 issues are really deep, and even with the characters that have been newly introduced. And I love how like Caleb is very much the stepdad, or should I say the stepdad who stepped in and sold the body, right? So it's a really interesting dynamic, and we lead to being in the Shadow Realm later on because um Caleb too has watched Power Rangers and knows how to do the cool hand movements, right? That was a nice touch, right? I love that. He's like, actually,
Like
I do know
the
how.
movement of the panels was really cool though. Like
It
how the
was fucking
panels moved
sweet.
to
It
like
was
pop
sweet.
him away to form a portal. That was awesome. Really cool stuff from the artists.
Hmm.
And I just want to say, like the next page where he's in a different place, I knew that's where we're getting into the Immortal Iron Fist of it all because we talked about this. We're like, can you access different
Hmm.
parts of the Sunstone since there's older Rogue Sun wielders, and that's where we see it's like there's a big statue that's like half torn or half destroyed of a previous Rogue Sun holding like a spear, and then he's like, "Oh, it's for sure not heaven. The afterlife is a Rogue Sun art exhibit," and that's where we get the iconic page where we see, for the first time in a long time, we see his father, Marcus, and he's there, and it's a flashback. Obviously, it's present, but it's a flashback to the very first issue, the last page. It's the exact same layout and
Yeah.
everything.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'll try to post that up here in a second. But yeah, that was super cool. So yeah, like overall, I thought that was an excellent issue, but I really thought that was an excellent way to end the issue. Like what we all knew it was gonna come eventually, but to finally see it, it was nice. I think I'll pop it up right here. There we go. Shit. There we have it. So make that a little bit bigger. So we've got
Yeah, he's been through some shit. He's been
yeah,
through some shit for sure. Yeah, he's looking a little tattered.
yeah.
I know that. Just start shitting on him right away too. I love this. Like he's been waiting for this for sure. Like I told you so. A plus work, son. He says. So yeah, no. It
Yeah.
was great seeing him back, for sure. And do you guys think like hopefully inevitably hopefully we'll see like Marcus and Dylan back as Roxanne or something along those lines, maybe, or Dylan and Marcus kind of like doing the back boat. But do you think we'll ever see Marcus actually take the body back as Rogue Son, like in the present time, kind of like how Caleb's doing? Do you think we'll ever see that again?
Maybe they'll work together to figure out like a spell or
I
like
would
or I feel
love
like
that.
Ori's
I would
definitely gonna
love
help with
that even
this.
more. I would love
Ori's
that
definitely
even
gonna help,
more.
and like you can see an arc right where like I don't want this to change if it actually were to happen, but you can see like a really great arc of like of Marcus having to sacrifice his spirit in some way, and Dylan actually feeling like shit that he has to go, and actually
Yeah.
finally fully losing his father.
Yeah,
I feel like that would
I think
be
that's gonna happen
If
eventually.
that if we do that arc, I
Gonna
don't know
happen.
if the first arc was called this, but if we do that arc, it should be called Rogue Sun, but SON. Like let's just do it. Like fuck it, it's right on the nose, but we should do it because at that
yeah.
point, that's what it
Sometimes
is.
some things seem obvious or it seems like the story's going that way, and it doesn't mean like it's bad. It could, and if the narrative actually goes there in a way that's enjoyable, then like I'm cool with stuff that isn't the most like unpredictable. Like I don't need like
Yeah,
lost like mysteries to blow my mind when the story narratives are that good and you're invested in these storylines. Like that would be really fulfilling. Or if we found something else to do, I mean, I'm sure it would be just as mind blowing. So yeah, I love where this series is going, and this arc is off to a roaring start, I think.
yeah.
I agree, and I want to say one thing I saw that I think Ryan's gonna appreciate is someone wrote this. I was reading League of Comic Geeks just to get information for the latest issue, and on the Rogue Sun number 13 page, I saw this. Someone said, "The crown jewel of the Massiverse, at least for me, continues with a new arc and new threat. Let's fucking go." So that's really cool. The fact that a lot of people consider this series to be the crown jewel of the Massiverse, and now, for you collectors out there, we're all readers. We all love the series. We're part of the same community. We appreciate the Massiverse. But if those of you are like collectors and you're OCD like me about your comic books, then this is a key issue because we got the first appearance of like 3 or 4 characters: Lady Calamity, Reverend Death, Reverend Death, Alienator, and Killswitch. So that's 4 first appearances, all really cool villains. No ratio incentives, so go pick those up. I'm sure we'll get them on a cover sometime soon, so that's going to be awesome. We already showed everybody the solicits for Rogue Sun number 16, which actually came out today, and this episode should hopefully come out tomorrow, so you'll get them around, proper, like, perfect timing. And now that Lunar has Image Comics now that they're the retailers for Image Comics as opposed to Diamond, I think the solicits came up a little bit earlier, which threw some people off. But yeah, without further ado, I think that pretty much covers everything. I agree with the guys. This was such a good issue. I think it feels so good to be back in the full swing in the Massiveverse because yeah, we had Supermassive, but having that break of
Been
not
some
having any
time,
of
yeah,
the
been some
titles.
time.
Exactly, and it's still gonna be a while until Radiant Black. It's still
Yeah,
Radiant Black's still over
I
a month
know, I
away.
know,
Isn't
is
that
it?
I know.
crazy?
Yeah,
It's yeah, because it's July
this
25, right?
yeah,
Or is
this
it July
tides us
20?
over a little bit at
It's like
least.
a
But
month
yeah, no,
away.
that's yeah,
Well,
no,
it's still been 2 months since we had a Rogue Sun as well. Like we saw him
yeah,
in Supermassive, but it's
Yeah,
still been like quite a bit. So
yeah,
it's nice to quench
it
our thirst with
was.
that.
for
Yeah.
Yes.
sure. And also real quick before we end, I didn't want to forget is I just noticed this too, flipping back through, but at Reggie's death, he's got a nice Yoda statue right in front of his memorial there. So it's
Oh.
kind of Star Wars is canon in the Massiverse. No, I'm kidding. But
I
Oh,
no,
love
it's
okay.
that.
Don't forget. Also, I do think we kind of brushed over Dottie like doing therapy and still trying to rehab these lost souls in the therapy
Yes, we
session.
did. Yes, we
Yeah,
did.
I think that's really interesting that Dottie is actually doing work. It's not just a prison. She's trying to, well, I mean, prisons have rehabilitation programs as well, but this is a little more unorthodox, as you would imagine, this kind of prison. So I think this is really kind of a cool way of doing it, and it fleshes out Dottie, shows like, hey, I'm not just like keeping them as as drip, like
yeah,
we're
no,
actually
yeah,
using them
no,
or
that's
helping
true.
trying to
Yeah,
improve their lives.
This isn't like a tax cut or anything. No, but that was really cool. Yeah, it was. It was. I really liked that we continue to see Dottie as a recurring character, and that's a good mention. I'm glad we touched on that just now. But yeah, I one thing I want to say actually is that Ryan Parrott was so kind enough to send us a package recently full of goodies that we're going to be giving away. So there were so many, like there was a lot of books, a lot of signed books, a lot of books. So we're going to be giving them all away. Thing is, it's going to take a while to give them away, and we're not going to give them away all at once because there's a lot of books. It's going to be like a very large shipping fee for giving them away all at once. They're all most of them are signed by I think like 99% of them are signed by Ryan Pay. I think one was signed by Kyle and Ryan, or just Kyle. It was the Radiant Black 18 Infinite he sent us as well, which I thought was really cool. So for those of you who are fans of the show, let people know we're going to be doing these giveaways. All you got to do is just subscribe to our show, to our YouTube, to Podbean, wherever you get podcasts. We're going to drop giveaways literally every single episode. We won't do one today because we're going to announce the winners from the previous giveaway very soon, which we have still open with the two Rogue Sun Volume 2s. So I'm telling you guys, there's so many goodies in here. We got like a Rogue Sun poster signed by Ryan Parrott. We've got Rogue Sun Volume 2 signed by Ryan Parrott. We've got every single issue almost of the series, the incentives, signed by Ryan Parrott. We got so it's like all these amazing books signed by Ryan Parrott, and we're giving them all away because I personally, when I get something signed by Ryan, I only have like two books signed by Ryan, and they were the Supermassive books they sold from Comic Sketch Art. So I want to get my personal signature like from Ryan when I meet him, and it'll happen. So we're giving these all away because he gave it to us to give you guys. So please
Yep.
check it out. Let your friends know. We'll tweet about it on social media. We always do this for each giveaway, and we'll leave them open for like a week so that everybody has a chance to join. Because like you said, we do this for you guys. We appreciate everybody. We love the community, and we're happy to. And we love Rogue Sun and the Massiveverse. So yeah, check us out. Right now, we have a giveaway for two Rogue Sun Volume 2s, Hellbents, to two different winners. Just check out our Twitter, Rogue Sun Podcast, if you want to see that. After that, we're going to sequentially give away all the issues Ryan gave us. We're doing a tier list soon, TBA date, so stay on the lookout. When we do that tier list, we're going to go, the Rogue Sun Podcast, including Ali, we're all going to go live. We're going to create a tier list for Rogue Sun. We're going to talk about it with the community. At the end of the tier list, we'll give away another book. And then that's how we'll do the ratios. Maybe we'll do the poster for the tier list because I think that's more like reflective of, I guess, just like it feels more fun. But we'll do books as well. I also picked up some book. I don't know where the fuck they are right now, so I apologize. But I picked up when I was at East Coast Comic Expo. We saw Mutant Beaver Comics, and they had some really cool, really good deals for Radiant Black exclusive variants, and we picked up an AF-15 homage for Radiant Black, like some AF-15 homage variants. So we're gonna give all of those away on Radiant Black Podcast and on here as well. So be on the lookout. Lots of cool giveaways, guys. Just give back to the community. Appreciate everything. This is super long-winded now, so I'm gonna end it. Thank you so much, everyone. Seriously though, there's so much. So please be on the lookout. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
stay
Like
ready,
what?
stay
Yeah,
ready.
when we
Yeah.
saw, we were just mind blown. Ryan Parrott,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah, Ryan's fantastic. He's been super supportive, and not only is it a great listening experience, it's super lucrative for you as well, apparently. So yeah, definitely tune in for those giveaways. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to burn bright. Others will find sunglasses.